There are trips you plan, and then there are trips you remember. This is the story of one unforgettable journey my family and I took to the heart of Italy, Rome. We had talked about it for years, my parents, my sister and I, always dreaming, always saying, "One day we'll go." But life has a funny way of making you wait, doesn't it? Finally, one summer, we stopped talking and booked the tickets. A week in Rome, the eternal city. The morning of our flight was pure chaos. Bags half-packed, passports misplaced, and my dad somehow managing to misplace his glasses on his own head. After what felt like a mini-adventure just getting out the door, we made it onto the plane. 8 hours later, after movies, airplane food, and barely any sleep, we landed. Rome hit us immediately. The heat, the buzz, the sounds of scooters zipping by. It was like stepping onto a movie set. And the architecture. Every corner looked like it belonged on a postcard. My sister, phone in hand, couldn't stop snapping photos. Even my mom, usually the practical one, was wide-eyed with wonder. Our first stop, the Colosseum. We decided to dive straight into history. Walking towards that ancient amphitheater, I was struck by its sheer size. You see it in books, in documentaries, but standing beneath those weathered stone arches, it's something else entirely. We joined a guided tour, and our guide, an energetic Roman named Luca, brought the place alive. He spoke of gladiators, emperors, roaring crowds. My dad, a bit of a history buff, was in heaven. My sister and I? We couldn't stop imagining what it must have felt like, standing there 2,000 years ago. After hours wandering the ruins, we were starving. That's when we discovered real Italian food, not the kind you grab from a chain back home. No, this was pasta that melted in your mouth. Pizzas with perfectly crisp crusts, gelato in flavors I didn't even know existed. We ate like we hadn't eaten in weeks. And there's something magical about eating in Rome. The tiny trattorias tucked down cobblestone streets, the clink of glasses, the laughter of locals. It felt like life slowed down there. Meals weren't rushed. Every bite was meant to be savored. That first evening, bellies full and a little jet-lagged, we wandered through the piazzas. The fountains sparkled under the setting sun. Musicians played soft melodies on street corners. And right then, we knew this trip was going to be special. The next morning, we woke up early, determined to squeeze every ounce out of our Roman adventure. After a quick cappuccino, which, by the way, Italians treat almost like an art form, we headed out. Our plan for the day? Explore the ancient streets on foot. Rome isn't a city you just see. It's a city you feel under your feet, in every stone, in every corner. We wandered past sun-soaked piazzas, stumbled upon tiny chapels with faded frescoes, and browsed markets brimming with colorful produce and handmade crafts. At one point, we came across a group of children chasing pigeons in the shadow of a grand, crumbling fountain. My sister joined in, laughing and running with them. It was one of those simple, perfect moments you can't plan. The kind that sneak up on you when you least expect it. Eventually, we found ourselves near the Pantheon. Now, I'd read about it, of course, but standing beneath that massive dome, seeing the light pour through the oculus, it gave me chills. My mom whispered, "Can you believe this was built nearly 2,000 years ago?" And honestly, I couldn't. We were so caught up in exploring that we didn't realize how far we'd wandered. Streets twisted and turned. The map on my phone stubbornly refused to load. And before we knew it, we were lost. At first, there was a little panic. My dad checked the map again. My sister and I exchanged glances. The streets here weren't straight and logical. They curved, they looped, they branched unexpectedly. But then, something changed. We let go of the need to get back and started to embrace the adventure. And what an adventure it turned out to be. We found a tiny art gallery tucked behind an ivy-covered archway, where a local artist was painting vivid scenes of Roman life. He smiled and waved us in, chatting warmly in broken English. My mom ended up buying a small watercolor, a memento of our accidental detour. A little further on, we stumbled upon a bakery. The smell of fresh bread and pastries wafted through the air. We couldn't resist. Inside, the elderly owner served us flaky croissants and sweet cannoli, speaking rapid Italian, smiling the whole time. It was moments like these, unplanned, unscripted, that made the trip unforgettable. Eventually, with full stomachs and happy hearts, we found our way back. But by then, none of us minded having gotten lost. In fact, it became one of our favorite stories to tell. The rest of the trip seemed to unfold in the same magical, unhurried way. Each morning, we'd wake up with a rough idea of what we wanted to see, but we quickly learned that in Rome, the best moments happen when you let the city lead you. One afternoon, we found ourselves on the Spanish Steps. Tourists were everywhere, snapping photos, eating gelato, lounging in the sun. My sister plopped down on one of the marble steps with her sketchbook, capturing the bustling scene. My mom and dad found a little cafe nearby and ordered espressos, watching the world go by. Later that evening, we visited the Trevi Fountain. It sparkled in the soft glow of twilight, the water cascading into the crystal pool below. We each took a coin, closed our eyes, and tossed it over our shoulders, just like tradition says, ensuring, or so the legend goes, that we'd one day return to Rome. That night, we wandered until we reached Trastevere, a lively neighborhood where narrow streets wind through centuries-old buildings, and every doorway seems to lead to a cozy trattoria. We settled into a small, family-run place that barely fit a dozen tables. The owner greeted us like old friends, suggesting dishes not even listed on the menu. We tried rich, slow-cooked oxtail stew, fresh ricotta-stuffed ravioli, and the crispest, thinnest Roman-style pizza. Each bite was better than the last. As the meal stretched late into the night, a local guitarist began playing softly in the corner. The whole place seemed to hum with warmth, not just from the food or the wine, but from the simple joy of sharing a meal, of being present in the moment. It struck me then. This was what Rome was really about. Not just the grand monuments or ancient ruins, though they were incredible, but the small, everyday magic, the laughter of strangers at the next table, the gleam of streetlights on cobblestones, the timeless rhythm of life unfolding at its own pace. When the trip finally came to an end, we packed our bags reluctantly. None of us wanted to leave. On the plane home, we talked about everything. The Colosseum, the surprise art gallery, the day we got lost, the meals we would dream about for years to come. Looking back now, it wasn't just a holiday. It was an adventure, a story we'd tell again and again. Proof that sometimes, the best memories aren't the ones you plan for. They're the ones that find you when you let go and simply explore. And Rome? It'll always be waiting with another story, another surprise, for next time.